Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of the work that I've personally been exploring and individuating. If you can remember, I created a introduction to this series which was called The Natural Zodiac, and what my basic intention with this video or this series is to kind of illustrate to you some of the ways that you can actually use the natural zodiac, which is this picture that you see in front of you. In other words, if I go over here and I take the Pelahita, this is the natural zodiac, right? This circle in that way. That's how it naturally operates. So again, like I said, ways that you can use the natural zodiac to actually show how aspects and themes of our lives exist, and how the natural zodiac, or consciousness as I like to call it, the 12 archetypes, are embedded in us, okay? And we interact and manifest reality through the combination of how these 12 signs or archetypes are basically in our expression, in our way of being. So what I'm actually doing here on a personal level is really pioneering a new direction and showing how astrology can be actually used as a tool to show us that we are so interconnected with these constellations, and that really life is about exploring and expressing and experiencing these 12 archetypes in different ways. Okay, so this is what this video series is about. They're not very long in terms of the actual videos themselves, but I intend to do quite a lot. And whenever I get time to be able to just dedicate to these videos, I will. That's how I do all these video series, is I create the intention, and when I get time I can actually fulfill them. My YouTube channel in itself is specifically created to grow over a period of time. There is no rush. I'm not doing this because I need to get stuff out there. It's doing it because I want it. It's something I enjoy, and I love sharing it with everybody in that way. So the first natural zodiac, or should I say archetype, that I'm going to be sharing with you today is the Virgo archetype, okay? And particularly the Inconjuncts or quincunx. I feel that a lot of people have a very interesting perspective of the Inconjunct or quincunx, and I would like to illustrate my perspective of it. I want to let everybody know that there is a kind of very important need to acknowledge inconjuncts in your astrology, because of the fact that these symbols, or should I say these connections, reflect to us like almost an alignment within our soul's journey. It's an aspect in our consciousness that causes an alignment, an adjustment. And if we're observing it and consciously integrating that lesson into our journey, integrating those archetypes into ourselves and bringing them forth and allowing that space to be with us, then we could actually harness this energy in a very powerful way. And you could really be able to stop being unconsciously reacting to these situations versus, of course, consciously reacting to them, which brings about a lot more mastery again. So the Inconjunct I really feel is an important aspect to integrate. So here's the natural zodiac, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the Inconjunct, which is an angle that is 150 degrees, okay? So we have Aries over here that starts at 0, and you go all the way around the zodiac like this, and you get to there, that's 270, and from there to there it's that full circle of 360. So you go around this whole wheel and you create this 360. So 150 degrees is from Aries, the beginning point, all the way to the archetype of Virgo, right? That's 150 degrees angle, okay? And this archetype is manifesting itself like this. Aries is, very simply put, is a new direction, a new emergence, okay? Whenever we change direction in our lives, we go in a new, we literally switch from whatever it is that we're doing, and we change, we create a new direction. And part of that process of creating that new direction is having to go out and explore and expand, to discover, which is why if you have sun sign in Aries, or if you've got planets in Aries, it means that there's a new direction emerging for you. You understand this point? And it's very important to actually integrate that into your consciousness, because to harness that energy of new direction, you need to be able to understand that there is something that you're breaking free from. Now, at a point within evolution, okay, we started Aries and we pioneer a new direction. But because there is this need for freedom and complete and utter new direction, there is this need to also integrate complete randomness. And it's this randomness and this exploration of many, many things that allows us to become aware of this instinctual purpose that is emanating from us, this instinctual desire to change the direction and go in a new way. So as we are archetyping in Aries, as we're going in this new direction, we're trying out millions and millions of things, we find that we don't really embody efficiency. We find that we don't embody specificness. We find that we don't embody something that makes it very streamlined. So the Inconjuncnt is a point within the consciousness where Virgo and Aries kicks in, right? When they complete each other, they connect to each other. And this is the archetype in our consciousness where we start to take our actions through experiences that cause crisis, okay? So whenever there's a crisis, Virgo, that's what Virgo is about. Simply put, Virgo causes crisis to pay attention to. And when we experience a crisis relative to an action, so you can see the action of Aries and the relative to Virgo, it causes us to deeply reflect. And as we deeply reflect on that process, we kind of like look at this process and go, okay, our actions led to this place. There was something here that didn't work for us in the best way. And so therefore, we need to analyze and try to look at the situation and see if we can improve it, Virgo. So the relationship between Aries and Virgo in the birth chart, particularly in the natural zodiac, is when we start to become more efficient and streamlined in our actions. And one of the stories that I use to explain this to my students is like this. You start this new journey, like you want to become this chef, okay? Like a cake baker, for instance. And you start the week, right? And you're fresh out of school and you're just about to jump into this job. And there's an experienced person, competent person, and then there's you. And because you're so new to this experience, the way that you go about doing these processes, the way you go about understanding how things operate in the kitchen and what's the best timing behind making this cake is not available to you. So you go through trial and error. You go through experiences that teach you through trial and error how to become more proficient, how to become more competent, how to become more streamlined in that process. And that is what the relationship to Aries and Virgo is about in the actual zodiac itself. It's when we become, through crisis, develop a sense of self-awareness to analyze the process, and then from that we become streamlined. So as you notice, as you look further down the story, like say for instance 5 or 6 months later, you'll know that when you began the job, you were very sort of new to everything and you didn't know where everything is. But as you went through processes, Virgo, as you went through crises, Virgo, as you went through experiences that weren't streamlined, Virgo, you started to notice that you became more proficient, as I said, in the way that you did things. You packed things this way, you put things in that way, you organized this way, you did this over here, and all of a sudden, a cake that was taking you, say for instance, 4 hours to make when you began, now becomes something that takes you 30 minutes to make because you've become proficient in the experience. And that is what the relationship to Aries and Virgo is about in the zodiac. It's a process of readjustment and it's a process of realignment to create efficiency and to create specific action and right action. Pretty neat, isn't it? Okay, everyone, I really hope that you enjoyed this little short introduction to the natural zodiac, and please write in the comments where you feel that you've got something to say about this. And yeah, so take care.